You want the tooth? You can handle the tooth of these gears! Friends, romance, countrymen, lend me your gears. That's right, gang, we are talking about my second favorite thing to grind. Gears! Gears are super old. First ones we know were in a chariot in China from maybe the 27th century BC under the mythical Emperor Rondi. But that's not to say they're not older than that, because before they were invented, if you told somebody to get in a gear, well, they had no idea what you were talking about.
You suck!
These days there are all kinds of gears. Miter gears, form drive gears, herringbone gears, rain gears that help Santa fly, gears of war, gears of fears, craft gear lovers, happy new gear, New Gear's Eve, pierced gears, gears in the headlights, John Gear, power gearing, legendary Seattle Supersonic Geary Payton, Top Gear, Richard Gear, and Bubble Gear. There's more types of gears than there are types of people in the world. Crazy. Left-handed and right-handed. Today we are focusing on two types of gears, helical gears and straight cut gears. And I guess we are also gonna be tackling some tough issues. We're gonna have a discussion about race. Alright, everybody is shaking their heads no and mouthing. Racing! Alright, we're gonna talk about racing. Right now you're probably asking yourself, what the heck is helical gears and straight cut gears? That's right, I knew you were thinking, because I can read your thoughts. Now you are thinking, how did he read my thoughts? Well, that's a genetic mutation because my mother was using the microwave while she was pregnant. And now you're thinking, should I tell my dad that I love him? Don't. That's a bad idea. He might not say back. Helical gears are the type of gears found in the transmission of almost every vehicle on the road. And I said almost because there's a few cars out there that prefer straight cut gears. These are a special type of car that are used to race other cars in races to see who can go fastest within the confines of a race. I think those cars are called cars that like to go fast. The teeth on a helical gear are angled and the teeth on a straight cut go straight out. So a helical gear can absorb contact smoothly and spread it out. And straight cut gets it all in once. It's a difference between jumping in an ice path or getting in slowly, or ripping a bone head off real quick, or taking your time, or building up to telling your mom you're never gonna be an astronaut doctor or bloody guy. Sorry mom, I'm a garage scientist. So why would some cars want straight cut gears instead of helical? That's the question. Man, if only there was some sort of a peasant presenting information like that in an entertaining fashion that people can complain about. Wait a minute, I have a CGI creation that lives in a program just like that. So helical gears are cylindrical gears whose teeth are not parallel to the axis of rotation. They're cut at an angle to the face of the gear. The teeth are angled and appear as a segment of an helix. So they have helical teeth. The angle between the teeth and the axis of the gears is called the helix angle, which normally ranges from 15 to 45 degrees. On these gears there's two pressure angles, transverse plane pressure angle and normal plane pressure angle. The module and circular pitch of helical gears are defined on the transverse plane. They are designed to distribute pressure gradually along the whole tooth. When two teeth on a helical gear system engage, the contact starts at one end of the tooth and gradually spreads as the gears rotate until the two teeth are in full engagement. This gradual engagement makes helical gears operate much more smoothly and quietly than other gears. And that's the reason helical gears are used in almost all car transmissions. They make enough contact to transfer power, and thus they are quiet. Helical gears can also be mounted on perpendicular shafts. You adjust the rotation angle by 90 degrees. They're quieter there too, and they can transmit energy between parallel or perpendicular axes. In any reading system with a shaft or a bearing, there's usually loads in two directions. One in the direction of the axis of rotation and the other radially. Thrust is the net force along the axis of rotation. Because of the helix and the teeth of helical gears, while the gear's mesh thrust force is developed axially, these forces push the gear towards the bearing. Hence, a thrust bearing has to be placed in the direction of axial force. The axial thrust bearing have to be able to resist the developed thrust forces, and this restricts the amount of torque that can be applied through the gears before failure occurs. The axial load produced by the helical gears diminishes the output energy from the transmission. They also have a slight increase in friction, so we get to lose some power as heat. Now let's contrast that with straight cut gears. The name explains it all already. A lot of people think that straight cut gears are stronger than helical gears, and that's why they are using it. Where a lot of people that don't drink Mr. Pibb think that good deeds are rewarded, and think it's a good idea to get involved in a war in Asia. And these people are wrong! Race transmission with straight cut gears are usually strong, but it's not because of the teeth on the gears. Straight cut gears are actually slightly weaker than a same sized helical gear. Shut up! Let me finish! Helical gears have more teeth meshing, so now you got a greater loading bearing surface area. And also difference in efficiencies are pretty negligible. Both spur and helical gears have about 98 to 99% efficiency. Technically, on a tooth versus tooth comparison, a helical gear can carry a larger load because it's diagonally positioned on a gear, assuming tooth size is equivalent. And that means it distributes the forces applied on it much more efficiently compared to the vertical tooth. So why are straight cut gears used in race transmissions? Because of the axial load of the helical gears. We don't want no axial loads, and straight cut gears don't produce thrust loads. Basically, since they don't produce thrust loads, you don't need all the bearings and a big box full of heavy crap to absorb and deal with all of that axial load. So the transmission gonna be way lighter. Heavy duty transmission casing and shafts gonna be used with helical gears for the transmission to cope with all of those additional loads. So straight cut gears save heaps and heaps of weight. And that is important in racing. Straight cut transmission gonna be more efficient. So it is strength that makes straight cut gears better in racing? Not really. It's easy to build a strong gear either straight or helical. So strength isn't the issue. The problem is when you start putting a huge amount of torque through helical gears, the axial load gets so high that everything else from transmission case and shaft and the axles, they gonna contain them loads, and that adds all the weight. Because yeah, Threaded gears simplify almost everything from the transmission case to the design of the bearings needed, and that makes things leaner because there's less stuff to stuff here. You get a larger powertrain that you can place in a vehicle without risking output shafts and other bearings tearing themselves apart, which is actually making a larger safety factor within the transmission itself. A negative to straight cut gears, and it's why they're not in most street cars, that they produce a lot of noise. You're trading way for all that noise, and that's no problemo if you're racing, but straight cut gears are also easier to assemble. They have less catastrophic result when things go wrong. Because of the simple structure, they're not gonna fly out this way. They're just gonna break. Now, the gearbox with straight cut gears is not necessarily a dog box. Usually they are, but they don't have to be. Dog box refers to how the gears are engaged, and straight cut refers to the types of gear themselves. Dog boxes have dog engagement hubs. Want to know who let the dog out? It was me. The dog wouldn't stop barking, so I let it out. Now, one theory to explain the name of it is that it was designed and produced by dogs. Well, a lot of people say that it's a stupid theory, but you're only one who thinks that. Dog box! Don't tell my parents that weird noise in the car comes from me.